Hello friends and fellow Simmerstorians, welcome back to my Victorian Sims challenge. As you can see, things are a lot happier here than they have been. So the Jung household is just filled with life and love and happiness and also just complete merriment. Everyone is playing with each other. We've got a grandfather playing with his sweet little grandson Peter, although let's be real, I feel like sweet probably isn't the right term for Peter, considering the fact that Peter has probably had more tantrums than I've ever had from a single sim in this game before. So there's definitely some kind of weird stuff happening here, mostly because Peter is just like really upset about the loss of his mother. He never quite recovered from that, but for the first time in this challenge, it seems like Peter is happy. And Peter is not the only one that's happy. Nellie is just really enjoying life right now. She's got a full household. I mean, this house is really full. I think they're almost at 8 Sims already. And everyone is just enjoying each other. And thankfully, Rodney is getting a little bit less creepy around his niece Lee. So that's a definite relief. I haven't seen him like having any weird like chemistry things with her anymore, so I'm hoping that was just like he had to get it out of his system and now he's fine. But Lee is getting along with everyone, and we keep catching Edmund just admiring the way that she interacts with his family, and she's in love with him. Guys, she's in love with him. That happened so fast. So if you don't remember, the last time we were at the Jung household was the Wine Harvest Festival, and they shared an intimate little moment at the festival together after dancing, and they both developed a pretty strong crush on each other. But also, I just wanted to point out how fun it is to see my Sims like around town interacting with each other. This just makes me so happy to see everyone just interacting. And so as a little reminder, we did add this little shrine from our kind of Chinese inspired Bon Voyage package, and I know that we could do some more like historically accurate stuff with Lee's religion, so if you have any ideas, like let me know. Oh no, it did not go well. I totally forgot that can happen. So now Lee is really itchy because the shrine did not bless her. Oops. Not a forgiving religion, I guess. Oh well. And I mean, gosh, look at Edmund and his little brother just like slapping each other with pillows there in the middle of the gardens. But we actually decide to take Lee out on a little tea date. They're kind of formally courting now. That sort of happened. But Edmund also knows that Lee gets along with his family. Lee gets along with his son, which is really important. His son has a definite partiality to Lee, and so Edmund isn't really interested in wasting time. That's why he, like, you know, they had their little moment and now they're already like proper courting. He's quite serious about her, which I think we all really love to see, because it's been a long time since we've seen Edmund happy. And so he does propose to Lee, and she is so excited and she agrees very quickly. I think they're going to be really, really happy together. And Nellie embraces her as part of the family. Nellie is so relieved that someone could come into Edmund's life and actually make Edmund a happier person, because there was a time there where I thought that everyone in the entire neighborhood was going to hate Edmund forever. And oh, Nellie's an elder. I'm feeling really sentimental and emotional about the fact that a lot of my first generation Sims are elders now. Actually, most of them. Yeah, she's so cute. She looks like such a dignified little elder, and I did put her in kind of more like Regency style garb, just because, you know, Nellie with her age did grow up in the Regency, and so I'm kind of playing in like the mid 18th century, so I think she would still have some clothes, and I think it's fitting. And okay, we've got the elders out of the way. Now it is time for our wedding. That's right, we are jumping right into Edmund and Lee's wedding. And I felt like maybe she wouldn't have planned on getting married when she moved here. She always anticipated on moving back to China after getting some experience on the vineyard. So she wasn't really prepared to bring like a proper wedding trousseau from her family. So that's why I thought it would be nice for her to wear Nellie's wedding dress, which is why it's a little bit more Regency style as opposed to Victorian era as well. And I did kind of want to hint back to some Chinese culture, and so I did really emphasize the gold aspects of her dress. Nellie is just kind of making sure that Edmund is ready for marriage, because it wasn't that long ago that he lost his young bride, and Edmund is like, no, I'm ready. How dare you even insinuate otherwise? Which I think means he's probably not that ready, but he's ignoring that. And so Nellie and Rodney are just kind of like, well, you know, if he says he's ready, he's ready. And I think this is good for the whole family. This is really good for Peter, especially. And I'm so excited to give Peter some siblings. I don't know about you, but that makes me really happy. And just look at them. Gosh, they're so cute. They are so cute. My husband always makes fun of me for saying this kind of stuff because, like, I'm the one controlling them. It's like, oh, they're in love? Yes, you're making them in love. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Sims have their own their own free will. I guess that's just a Simmer thing. He's never really been a Simmer, so I mean, you know, so it goes. But we are on our way to the wedding. We're actually going to go back to St. Philip's Gardens. I felt like this little gazebo area would be a perfect spot. Actually, it's a pavilion. So I just kind of wanted them to have a small, intimate little ceremony. And, you know, kind of outside of the church, since Lee's not part of the Protestant church we have in town. And Edmund's fine with that. He's never been hyper religious. He's okay with it. So the two of them just get married right beneath the pavilion together in the gardens. And this just makes me so happy. Look at that grin. Look at that grin on both of their faces. They are just positively enamored with each other, and this is actually significantly happier than Edmund looked at his first wedding as well. I think they're going to have a very different relationship than Edmund and Emma had, because Edmund was so young when he and Emma got married, and he just didn't really know what he was getting himself into, and I don't think he was really emotionally ready or prepared to have a child. Hence the fact that he hasn't exactly been the greatest father for Peter. He's actually been very emotionally absent, which explains why Peter has just been so full of tantrums. But Lee has never been absent. Lee has always been there to support Peter in those hard moments since she's been in town. And so to celebrate, we actually bring everyone back to the vineyard, and look who shows up. That's right, we invited Mary, and Mary actually came. She didn't bring her daughter Priscilla or her husband. I think Lee's still a little bit hesitant about interacting with the family because she had such a hard, like, emotional youth. But she's tiptoeing back into the family, and ultimately she's so happy for Edmund because she knows that Edmund went through a really hard time too, and she just wants to be there to support him and his new bride and just show that she is, like, in support of his second marriage. I can't even believe that Edmund is already, like, this is his second marriage. He's been married twice. Gosh, this challenge is just flying by. I'm sure you don't feel that way. And look at Georgina. So Georgina Holloway pops over for the wedding reception as well and is just getting down to some classical music. I love how silly Sims look in this game when they're dancing. And I know that some of the silly behavior and playing around that we've been seeing in this episode perhaps isn't very historically accurate. But to be honest, I was just really excited to, like, let the Sims autonomously have some joy, because there are definitely moments in this challenge where it feels like everything is horrible, everyone is dying, nothing is going right, everyone's poor. And I just wanted to give you guys some of these raw, happy moments that we've been experiencing. And it looks like it's time to consummate the marriage and hopefully end up with a little sibling for Peter. Gosh, they're just They're just precious. All right. Well, I think maybe it's time to give these two a little bit of privacy. And as soon as they're done having some fun, they come back downstairs in their pajamas to dance to classical music with Edmund's brothers. Oh, yeah, this isn't exactly historically accurate. I mean, Lee coming down and dancing in her undergarments maybe isn't what we would normally see, but that's okay. So things are finally starting to settle down a little bit. We've had quite a lot of joy and celebration, and now it's time to kind of settle back into the routine and simplicity of everyday life. Except not exactly for Lee, because she is having the worst morning sickness that I have ever seen of a sim. She throws up 4 consecutive times. 4 consecutive. I honestly am a little bit worried about her, as I should be, because she's having preterm cramps and this could end badly. But thankfully it's okay. She doesn't actually lose the baby. We just need to be a little bit careful. So she has entered her first trimester. We're going to send her to bed, and she's not going to join us working on the vineyard just because we need her to like take care of herself. And Nellie stays home with her as well. So the ladies are home doing home stuff, domestic stuff. Unfortunately, we did get a bad review at the vineyard, and so every single customer that we have is just grumpy and upset, and it is not good. So we're losing a lot of stars. This is Priscilla Corinne. This is Mary's daughter. You saw her a little bit in our vignette. She actually comes home with Peter from school, so Mary lets her do that. I am a little bit shocked, but really quite relieved to see that Mary's okay, letting her daughter, you know, interact with her cousins. It's baby time. All right, I'm so excited. I kind of hope it's a girl. I don't know. We haven't had twins in a while. We've actually, we've really only had singles babies, which is kind of weird. I don't know if maybe my mods aren't working, but something seems kind of off. Okay, what are you? Oh, hello. Hello, Jonah in your underwear. Okay, so it's a girl. I'm so excited for a little tiny Lee. All right, so we're gonna name her Faye Bao. Of course, Bao in respect to her mother's maiden name, and I'm so happy. I think this is gonna be a really pretty child, just because I feel like Edmund and Lee's genetics are going to be really interesting together. Faye is going to be kind of raised in this sort of hybrid culture between English culture and Chinese culture, especially since Lee honestly kind of wants to move back to China eventually, but she's not really sure that Edmund is going to be in support of that. But it's time for baby number 2. And everyone needs to leave the room. I've been having this issue where my Sims try and woo, and everyone just comes upstairs, and this is the only room upstairs. And of course, someone has to put Faye on the floor. That's great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jonah or Bertram or whoever put the baby on the floor. But look at Peter just enjoying himself. It's actually, this feels crazy. It's his teenage birthday. I feel like Peter has barely been with us, and he's already aging up into a teen. I'm really hopeful that his teenage years are going to go a lot better than his childhood, because I feel like he's on the upward swing of some really hard stuff. And I am really hopeful and really positive about his trajectory, maybe, especially now that he has a baby sibling. I don't know, do you think he's going to get along with Faye, or do you think maybe he'll have some negative associations with her? What do you think? What should their relationship be? I'm not really sure yet. I mean, Faye is still a baby, so it's a little bit early for us to know. Okay. I actually decided to make this absolute angsty ham a family sim just because I feel like he had kind of a really bad family life growing up. And I want him to experience and maybe desire a normal, healthy family dynamic. So I don't think that's out of character, but he is an absolute ham. I love him. I'm really excited to see how his personality develops, and hopefully positively. He didn't immediately go into aspiration failure upon growing up, so again, I think we're on the upswing. And meanwhile, we can't forget about the daily tasks of the vineyard. So we let Edmund really be in charge of like stomping the grapes. Nellie and Rodney have been collecting grapes. We've got like tons and tons of them in our inventories because we have so many vineyards on the community lot vineyard, and so we're a little bit behind, but we're actually out of space for the casks. And each cask can be sold for 500 simoleons. So although Jonah isn't really going to have a lot of money when he ages up, which will be at the end of the episode today, we actually, his inheritance is only 300 simoleons, and then he gets to take a bed with him and a dresser from his childhood room, and then we're giving him 2 casks, and so that's about 1,000 simoleons, which isn't a bad situation. I mean, he's probably making out with at least about 2,000 simoleons, so he'll have a little bit of starting place. Oh, okay. I'm so excited for you guys to see her. Look at Faye. She is the cutest little toddler. I am kind of obsessed with her. I put these little bangs on her and like, I can't. What do you guys think? Are you obsessed with her too? I think she's adorable. But so we just had her birthday and now it is time for Jonah's. And this feels like a long time coming. I feel like we've been with Jonah for a very long time. So I'm a little excited for Jonah to get out of the house. He has an arranged marriage with Winnie Harvey, who is the maid at the Lawson household. So she's not really ready to get married yet. We've probably got another week of her working as the maid before she's ready. But she will be coming into the marriage with Jonah with a little bit of money, thank God. Not a lot. A couple hundred simoleons, but here he is. Here's Jonah. I decided to give him a little mustache. I don't know. It felt a little bit appropriate. So we're actually going to move Jonah into this apartment here, primarily so he can save up some money. He has joined the science career, so he will be a scientist. I know he technically doesn't have any money and qualifies as the lower class, but because of his family connections, I am allowing him to participate in middle class career options. So thank you so much for your presence today. I'm so glad you were here. Be on the lookout this week for another video. I am putting together a little gift for you all to thank you for 100 subs, and we've got some downloads on your way. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you next time.